Oh yeah, also the importance of identity when it's like I want to
Yes.
identify as a growth-minded person who's continuously improving and continuously striving for more. It's like if you identify or like identify as, a successful coach, well, that those habits will build that identity and I think
Yep.
identity is really crucial. But what do you think about that?
Yeah. So James Clear, and I love that he said like this is actually kind of answers a previous question. Like, what is one of the best things you ever heard in,
Mm,
or one of the best things you've heard in this book? I think that outcome based habits, we always try to achieve habits to achieve a certain outcome. Like, oh yeah, like in I'm gonna beat this person in bench press, but we don't really develop habits to develop a certain identity, or we don't develop habits to support a certain identity. So there's
mm-hmm.
something called like the habits bullseye, where it's outcome, habits, identity, where the outcome is in the center of the bull, like the target.
Mm,
We first start with the center. We focus like, oh yeah, I'm first focused on the outcome. Like just I'm just gonna do whatever it takes to get the outcome. And then based on the outcome, once I get the outcome, then I can build the habits and then achieve a certain identity. James Clear talks about the importance of starting with a certain identity. Like when May, I didn't read the book back. I recently read the book, but in May, I kind of adopted that mindset where it's like I'm gonna pretend like I'm already jacked, even though I was still
yes.
extremely like fat. I'm gonna pretend what I'm like that I'm already like just pretend it. Like I would look at my like body fat in the mirror and just see myself as this jacked person, even though I actually in reality I was still like had a lot to weight to lose, or a lot of body fat to lose, should I say? And then I said, what are the habits of someone who's jacked, or what are the habits of something I could do to
Oh, for
maintain
sure.
that physique? So I wasn't even trying to lose weight. I was just pretending I was maintaining my weight. And I just
Dang,
cared
that's
about the swim. I
interesting.
just cared about the diet. And I lost weight. So
Dang,
that
that's
was like the
great, man.
outcome. Thanks,
Man,
bro.
sweet. That's really cool. And let's see here. Do you track your progress? Like I remember James Clear talking about how like you monitor habits helps the motivation. Like I'm sure there's ways you
I
might track
journal.
some of your habits. Okay, yeah. What
I
do you
journal.
journal about?
I essentially journal like when I have a relapse. I was like, oh, I relapsed in diet today. But like, here's why. Here's what I can do
Mm,
tomorrow to like not relapse again.
I see. Dang, interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, like, in the quitting porn dimension, same kind of
Mm-hmm.
idea where it's like if you identify as someone who doesn't watch porn, you you then can take on the attributes of someone who doesn't watch, whether that's bringing it up in conversation as saying like I don't watch, or if someone asks you what's your favorite porn star, you say, "Oh, I just that's not my thing. I don't watch." Or it's uh, what else could be great attributes of a person who doesn't watch porn? It could be someone that, well, ask other people how that is going for them, or like I don't know, it's a person who has accountability circles and talks about it. It's a person who's set up their life in a way that they can be open about their struggles. It's like if you're just a person who's trying to quit cigarettes, trying to quit jerking off, it's like just having that goal is not going to get you there. You need to figure out what identity
Pretend.
that is. Yeah, pretend like you already did it, and then take the steps to reach that. And once you've tricked your mind into doing it, it's really not that hard. It's just a matter of that little bit of consistency that we keep talking about.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
you're essentially imagining yourself like, what if I was that person and when I relapse, it's not like I haven't done it yet. I've already done it, but I made a mistake. Like for
Yeah.
instance, when I'm playing a sport or competitive or anything competitive, I make a mistake and like I get overtaken or I get upset. It's like, oh, I made a mistake, but I'm actually really good. Even though it may not be an upset. It could be like the other team is better. The fact that I still lost, like I can pretend that like it's an upset. And James Clear actually gave the example of like cigarettes, where it's like, oh, I don't think he mentioned about relapses, but he definitely mentioned about the identity of someone who is quitting cigarettes.
Yeah,
And for
yeah.
me, that was actually weed. Where like every time I had a relapse, I'd like be like, oh, I'm just gonna quit because like first of all I didn't even like I tried to trick my mind like not even enjoying it in the first place because I'd wake up like
Mm,
kind of like high hungover.
yeah.
And the other thing was like, oh, I'm someone who doesn't do this anymore, but I just made a mistake.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah. Instead of, oh, I'm still trying to quit.
yeah,
Yeah. Because then it's kind of like you almost give yourself permission to keep failing because, oh, I'm
yep.
trying.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
quit, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't quit because I just did it. But it's also important to note that your habits also reinforce your identity. So if you make too many mistakes, it could be like, oh,
Oh.
maybe I'm actually just not that good.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So you
interesting.
want to make your mixtapes minimal. There is like, oh, I made a mistake, but I'm actually this identity, so I'm gonna not make this mistake again. And here's what I can do to not make this mistake again. And every mistake you get is a learning process, but as long as you learn something out of that.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, what's your daily routine look like when it comes to your habits? Like, what do you do when you wake up? Do you have like a do you, yeah, what's your daily system?
I'm not 100% perfect because like, there are things that usually do happen in the morning, like especially I wake up and like there's something my mom wants or some other stuff in life happens. So
For
like
sure.
I'm still working on it. Actually, should I say I am perfect, but I still make mistakes and I learn from them. My
Or at
ideal
least you're
routine,
growing.
this is like
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
ideal day, or the routine that I have the identity of is someone who wakes up, journals, takes my dog out, goes for a workout, comes back, eats, grinds on YouTube videos, makes content, sends out blogs for my coaching program, and then like goes to bed. And then maybe like a few hours of leisure once I have time and like once I can outsource my tasks.
Nice. That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I think the getting outside, the exercise, the
Yep, the
diet,
swimming.
the business. Yeah, those are all great. Like my this podcast kind of covers three main pillars. It's like I kind of see it as like topics that I feel like men really need to hear. First pillar
Mm,
being the character development, philosophy, personal growth, etc. Secondly, being health and fitness. Without a strong mind and body, you're not even really going to get very far in life. Thirdly, financial literacy, business systems, etc. So it's like, I feel like if you can design your day and have each one of those pillars being an anchor, I feel like
mm,
you're going to be a high value man that achieves many goals in the philosophy, religion, self development category, the health and fitness category, and the business growth category. And so it's like if you're able to design your day that fits this well rounded lifestyle, I think you're going to just do so great in life. Whereas so many people neglect one, two, or three of those pillars and they no longer, well, they're no longer much of a man. So, yeah, man.
Funny that you said that because I actually was drawn to this podcast because of the relationship between fitness and porn. And I kind of realized that fitness, I'm like, especially from my eras of like, looking at people's Facebook profiles, I'm like, oh, like, my lust got to me. Like, I didn't watch porn, luckily, but I could see how someone who's watching porn, like, this is kind of what am I saying? This is kind of how I kind of like stopped doing that. Was I replaced Facebook binges and looking at people's profiles and oh my god, I want to attract this person to
Mm,
I'm gonna work at the gym. Like I think fitness kind of complements the other parts of your body. It's like when I started going to the gym, like that was the first thing I got, or the first thing that really kickstarted my other pillars of life.
mm,
So
yeah,
now that I've like kind of gotten fitness locked or mostly locked down, I'm gonna I have the identity of someone who's have has fitness locked down.
there
Now
we
I'm
go.
working and building the identity of someone who has other pillars locked down.
Nice. Hey, that's great.
Yeah.